Abandoned as a child, a guy faces a difficult choice: take the lives of Vikings while protecting his adopted family, or join his ancestors. It's going to be a real priceless choice. 892. A local resident of an Indian settlement goes on a hike and stumbles upon a destroyed Viking ship. Once inside, the woman sees dozens of corpses and finds a surviving boy among them. Showing sympathy, she gets him to the tribe. A chief named Pathfinder decides the boy's fate and allows him to stay, becoming part of their large family. In the evening, the boy, named Ghost, goes to bed and has a nightmare. The Vikings, having arrived in the lands of North America, attacked a neighboring tribe and took the lives of everyone who was there. The father ordered the guy to take the girl's life, but he threw away the sword, disgracing his ancestor. The Viking leader abandoned him, flogging him for his weakness and abandoning him on foreign soil. 15 years later, the two tribes meet on the land of one of them to discuss their immediate plans. A ranger from a neighboring settlement notices the ghost and reads fortunes on the stones, predicting that the guy has a great future ahead of him, but he will have a thorny path. In the evening, the neighboring tribe returns to their lands, and the young Indian warriors undergo initiation. The ghost is still confused and has not chosen the right side, so the Pathfinder sends him away, preventing him from undergoing the rite of passage. Secluded by the river, the phantom practices using the Viking sword he inherited from his father. Sometime later, the phantom and his stepsister go into the forest. While the guy is hunting wild animals, the girl is picking berries when she suddenly encounters Vikings who have newly arrived on their land. Frightened, the baby is going to scream and runs away. The merciless barbarians take the life of her dog and then go to the village after the girl. Having attacked a village, the Vikings wreak havoc and panic, destroying everyone in their path. They do not spare the elderly, women, or children. Hearing the sound of a bugle, the ghost climbs the mountain and sees chaos happening on the neighboring shore. Realizing that his loved ones are in danger, he hurries to the village. Arriving at the scene of the bloody massacre, the phantom finds the bodies of his adoptive mother and half-sister, realizing that this was done by barbarians who arrived from Europe. A couple of minutes later, he hears strange sounds nearby and hurries there. Once near the clearing, the phantom sees his adoptive father bravely fighting a stronger enemy. The Viking knows no mercy, but allows the guy's father to die like a real man and pierces him with a sword. A ghost breaks into the crowd to avenge his deceased parent. Noticing that the guy is different from the rest of the Indians, Gunnar allows him to take the sword and fight with his best warrior Ulfar. Proving to be not only strong and brave, but also resourceful, the phantom throws sand into the enemy's eyes, after which he deprives him of one eye. Realizing that the forces are unequal, the guy steals the shield and flees. A crowd of barbarians gives chase to take the life of the insolent man who dared to escape from the battlefield alive. Gunnar notices that the ghost behaves differently from other Indians and is clearly familiar with their battle tactics. Acting cautiously, he sends only a few fighters and makes a big mistake. The ghost, emerging from the water, attacks one of the barbarians and takes his life. Noticing a horseman nearby, he rushes at him and defeats him with one blow of his sword. Having stolen the horse, the phantom flees again, trying to gain some time. Realizing that it is quite cold outside, he returns to the burned village to get warm clothes. Here he is attacked by another group of Vikings, so the ghost is forced to retreat, using the shield as a sleigh. As he rolls down the mountain, the phantom notices that several barbarians are chasing him. One of them hits the guy in the back with an arrow and seriously wounds him, but he does not intend to give up. During the descent from the snowy mountain, the ghost masterfully uses his knowledge of the area, as a result of which some of the opponents are eliminated naturally. He kills the rest, leaving only one enemy. The ghost is ready to enter into the last battle, but the mountain ends and he falls off the cliff into the water. The last Viking is afraid to jump after him and decides to return to the camp, saving the ghost's life. Returning to camp, the last enemy pursuer reports his failure. The indignant one-eyed Ulfar takes the life of the warrior who got the bad news. Hiding in the west, the phantom notices thin ice and decides to use this knowledge in the future. At dawn, dozens of barbarians set out in search of the ghost, using dogs and their extraordinary abilities to track down enemies. Meanwhile, A dozen warriors from a neighboring tribe accompanying the Pathfinder and his daughter Starfire find the wounded guy. Here they also encounter a wild bear, but the tribe leader uses cunning to defeat the strong beast. In the evening, the group returns to their tribe. Blackwing shows sympathy for Starfire, but the girl does not react to him as she is in love with the ghost. Meanwhile, the Pathfinder performs a ritual to save the wounded guy and remove the arrow from his back. In the morning, the Phantom reports that the tribe needs to flee and leave their home in order to survive. Self-confident fighters do not want to retreat, but the guy warns them that the forces are not equal. Vikings have sharp swords and thick armor that is resistant to sticks, spears, and bows. Realizing that the ghost is right, Pathfinder orders the tribe to flee by going east. While the villagers are leaving to the east, the ghost and Jester, who has joined him, go in the opposite direction to delay the enemy. Jester is an outright coward, but he is inspired by the Phantom's courage and is willing to do anything to help him. In the evening, Jester and the Phantom reach the burned village and decide to use it as a place to fight. If they fail, they will be able to retreat to the cave, better oriented to the area than strangers. At some point, one of the girls loses her favorite toy, and Blackwing learns that Starfire did not leave with them, not wanting to leave the ghost. Having decided to repel the enemies, Blackwing and 10 other brave warriors return back. At night, the ghost has a terrible dream in which the Pathfinder of a neighboring village takes his own life with his sword. He asks the guy to be wise and finally choose between the call of blood and love for strangers who saved and raised him. Soon, he is visited by Starfire and the pair spend time together. Sometime later, the ghost hears the sound of a bugle and realizes that the enemy is too close. Using the terrain, he blends in with the environment and attacks one of the Vikings, sending him to the other world. Some barbarians stumble upon traps prepared in advance by the ghost and Jester, as a result of which they also lose their lives. Acting tactically competently and using various deceptive maneuvers, the ghost gradually destroys the enemy army, significantly reducing its number. Gunnar and Ulfar are furious, but cannot do anything, clearly inferior to the ghost in battle tactics. Jester and Starfire also use several traps to deal with the enemy. Sometime later, the elusive man comes out into the open to face his opponents. He lures them to him, as there is a trap with sharp stakes ahead, but at some point, the plan collapses. Blackwing and other fighters decide to attack the enemies, but fall into a trap, as a result of which many of them lose their lives. The Vikings, aware of the trap, finish off the Indians and continue the hunt for the ghost. Hiding inside a cave with dozens of secret passages, the Phantom continues to methodically destroy the enemy. Starfire falls into the hands of a barbarian, but Jester protects her at the cost of his own life. The ghost sees his friend fall asleep in eternal sleep and continues to fight the barbarians, protecting his beloved girl. Realizing that they have no chance in the cave, Gunnar and Ulfar lure the elusive man out with live bait by threatening the wounded but still alive Blackwing. Realizing that he can no longer be saved, the Pathfinder shoots the warrior of his tribe and puts him out of his misery. The Vikings find and capture the trio in an unequal battle. They want to find the escaped tribe and torture the Pathfinder, but he remains silent even during torture. Realizing that the leader will not confess to anything, the Vikings use horses and ropes tied to them to execute him. After this, Gunnar threatens to take away Starfire's arm and the elusive man surrenders, promising to show where the rest of the local villagers fled to. Along the way, Ulfar decides to take advantage of the defenseless girl, but the Phantom prevents him, and Gunnar forbids him to touch the captive. First, the Phantom takes a group of barbarians to the village and finds the girl's toy. Having lied and said that the tribe went to the west, he leads the enemies in the opposite direction, throwing up things that prove that he is telling the truth. At night, the Phantom suggests going around the river, but Ulfar is not afraid of anything. The group ends up on ice and falls under the water, causing the Phantom to kill several enemies. Having reached land, the group continues to move west and finds themselves on a dangerous cliff. One barbarian falls down, and the Phantom offers to tie a rope together to ensure each other. At some point, Gunnar sees the tribe on the other side and realizes that he has deceived them. The girl and the phantom imitate a fight, during which the guy frees himself from the rope and hits the last one in the column on the head. The barbarians tied together fall down, but Gunnar and Ulfar remain. In the struggle for life, the Viking leader takes the life of his assistant, after which he enters into battle with the phantom. The girl helps her loved one and bites the barbarian's ear. In a difficult battle, the ghost defeats Gunnar and allows him to fall into the abyss, returning the Pathfinder's amulet. The avalanche that begins takes all the barbarians with it. Starfire returns to the tribe, and soon the ghost comes for her. The girl becomes the new Pathfinder and promises to protect people with the support of her husband, from whom she will give birth to a son. Thank you for your supports, likes, and subscriptions. If you want to watch more recaps, just go to our channel. See you very soon.